Dorian Yates weighed 270 pounds of bronze granite at 5% body fat, and he built it training just 4 days a week, 45 minutes a session, with one all-out set per exercise. While Sean Ray and Kevin Levrone were grinding through 20 sets per body part following Joe Weider's gospel, Dorian was in a freezing Birmingham dungeon called Temple Gym, doing the exact opposite. And from 1992 to 1997, he beat every single one of them, 6 straight Mr. Olympia titles. So how does the guy doing the least win the most? That's the puzzle, and the answer rewrites everything you've been told about volume. Dorian's blueprint came from a man most of the bodybuilding world had written off by the late 80s, Mike Mentzer, the 1978 Mr. Universe who finished his pro career with a controversial 4th place at the 1980 Olympia and walked away from the stage forever. Mentzer had taken Arthur Jones's Nautilus philosophy and sharpened it into something he called heavy duty. The premise was brutal and simple. 1 set, taken to absolute muscular failure, then go home and grow. Mentzer argued that the stimulus for hypertrophy is intensity, not duration, and that every additional set past the failure point eats into your recovery without adding stimulus. Most of the industry laughed. Yates didn't. He took Mentzer's framework, made it his own, and called it blood and guts. Here's what his actual split looked like. The one documented in his own training journals and his 1993 video, Blood and Guts. Monday, delts and triceps. Tuesday, back and rear delts. Thursday, chest and biceps. Saturday, legs, 4 days, that's it. 3 full rest days baked in every single week. And inside each session, the structure was savage in its economy. 2 or 3 warm-up sets of ascending weight, never to failure, just priming the nervous system. Then 1 working set 1, taken past failure with forced reps, where his training partner would assist just enough to grind out 2 or 3 more, and negatives, where he'd lower a weight he couldn't lift on his own. On hammer strength rows, he was loading 6 plates aside and grinding out 8 reps with a pause at the bottom. On incline barbell press, he hit 405 for reps. On hack squats, he was stacking the sled to a point where the machine looked broken, and then he left. That's the part nobody outside Temple Gym believed. He just left. No 12 sets of cable crossovers, no finisher. The work was done because the work was, by his definition, complete. If this is already cracking open how you think about training, subscribe, because the science behind why this actually worked is where it gets really interesting. Because here's the twist. Modern hypertrophy research has spent the last 15 years trying to figure out exactly how much volume you actually need, and the answer is messier than either camp wants to admit. Brad Schoenfeld's 2017 meta-analysis in the Journal of Sports Sciences looked at volume and muscle growth and found a dose-response relationship up to around 10 plus weekly sets per muscle group. More tended to mean more. That sounds like a point for the high-volume Weider crowd, but Schoenfeld's own 2019 study, published in Medicine and Science in Sports and Exercise, took trained men through protocols of 1, 3, and 5 sets per exercise. The 5-set group built more muscle on average, yes, but the 1-set group still made significant hypertrophy gains. 1 hard set grew muscle. That is not nothing. That is in fact exactly what Mentzer and Yates were claiming. And then there's the failure question. James Steele and Jürgen Gessing have published repeatedly on training to momentary muscular failure, arguing that when you take a set to true failure, the stimulus per set goes way up, which means the total sets you need goes way down. Yates didn't do 6 mediocre sets. He did 1 set that was so far past what most lifters call failure that comparing them is almost dishonest. There's also the load question. Stuart Phillips's lab at McMaster, with the Morton et al. 2016 paper in the Journal of Applied Physiology, showed that light loads taken to failure and heavy loads taken to failure produced essentially the same hypertrophy. The variable that mattered most was effort, proximity to failure. Yates lived at that proximity on every working set, every session, for over a decade. So when you stack the evidence, the heavy-duty approach isn't some debunked relic. It's a high-effort, low-volume strategy that the science says absolutely can build muscle, especially when recovery between sessions is generous. And Yates's 3 rest days a week were not laziness, they were the entire point. Because here's something most people miss about him. Dorian wasn't just training brutally hard. He was eating, sleeping, and recovering like a professional athlete in a sport where most of his rivals treated recovery as an afterthought. He slept 8 to 9 hours, he ate 6 meals a day, often built around chicken, rice, potatoes, and oats, totaling around 5,000 calories in prep and more off-season. He didn't do random cardio for hours, he walked. And his physique kept evolving while his rivals plateaued or broke down. By the 1993 Olympia, he showed up with a back so thick and detailed that judges said it looked like a relief map. Christmas tree spinal erectors, lats that flared from his neck. He'd added 30 pounds of stage weight since his 1991 runner-up finish to Lee Haney. He won that 1993 show. and then 1994, 1995, 1996, 1997, 6 in a row. He created the template for what we now call the mass monster era. Without Yates, you don't get Ronnie Coleman's freak show back. You don't get the modern open class. You don't get Chris Bumstead's silhouette being measured against the standard Dorian invented. But here's the painful footnote. The intensity that built him also destroyed him. He tore his left triceps preparing for the 1997 Olympia and competed anyway, winning by the slimmest margin of his career. He tore his left biceps in 1996. He'd ruptured his quadriceps. By 1998, his body was so wrecked he retired at 36. Heavy duty worked, but it worked at a cost few humans could pay. And that's the honest tension in his story. The science says high effort, low volume training builds muscle. Yates proved it at the highest level the sport has ever seen. But he also proved that taking every set past failure week after week, year after year, has a tax. Your tendons and joints write the check. So what do you actually take from the Dorian Yates blueprint? Not necessarily one set per exercise, not necessarily 4 days a week. The deeper lesson is this: effort is the currency of hypertrophy. Sets are just the way you spend it. If your sets are floating 5 reps shy of failure, you need a lot of them. If your sets are going to the wall, you need far fewer, and you need to recover like your physique depends on it. Because it does. The Weider orthodoxy told everyone the answer was more. Yates walked into a basement gym in Birmingham, did less, and walked out with 6 sandos. The barbell doesn't care about your philosophy. It only cares how hard you pulled. If this kind of breakdown is your thing, hit like and subscribe because the legends left receipts and we're going through every one of them.